Chapter of Jonah. Now, I want you to understand something. The Bible doesn't always go along with the Hebrew in the Old Testament, and even in the New Testament. Sometimes a chapter begins in a different place. Now, in the translations, verse number 17 in the first chapter is actually in the first chapter, but in the Hebrew, verse number 17 is actually in chapter number 2. And I want to read this to you here from the Amplified Bible. And this is a very important statement here. Right in the next few verses are very pronounced, important statements, because it tells us how long Jesus will be in the earth, in the ground, in the grave. And he was in the grave 3 days. 3 days. Now, the fish that God prepared, this Leviathan that God prepared, was not a whale. It was not a shark or anything natural. This is a supernatural fish. It is not normal. This is supernatural. Now, it says here in verse number 17, now the Lord had prepared and appointed and predestined and appointed and foreordained a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the stomach of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Then if we go over to the New Testament, we find out now Jonah is dead. He's in the fish, he's dead. He probably was dead when the fish swallowed him, because it says he was dead. Now, in the New Testament, Jesus didn't swoon. Jesus didn't pass out on the cross and they let him down and buried him and he was still alive. He was dead. Dead. Dead, dead. Mio. He died and stayed that way. And then in verse number, the 12th chapter of Matthew, and this is just before Jesus starts lambasting the Pharisees pretty bad. And he's going to do it here also. Then some of the scribes and the Pharisees said to him, Teacher. They didn't call him Jehovah. They didn't call him King. They just called him a teacher. And sometimes they just call him a doctor. We want a sign attesting to your miracles from you, proving that you are what you claim to be. He'd already done this. He already performed miracles. He'd already raised the dead. What else did they want? Yeah. They didn't accept what he'd done. Why would they accept anything else he did? Yeah. But he replied and said to them, an evil and adulterous generation that is morally unfaithful to God and craves and demands a miraculous sign. But no sign will be given to you except the sign of the prophet of Jonah. And for just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, now I'm going to tell you, Jesus was not crucified on Friday. Not 3 days and 3 nights, people. Simple as that. It tells us this here. This is not a misnomer. He was in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. For just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the sea monster, this is a Leviathan. This is not a whale. They talk about people being swallowed by a whale and in the belly of a whale, and etc., etc., and they spit them out and they're still alive. Jonah was dead, dead, dead. He was not alive. It says here, if Jonah was alive in the belly of the whale, then Jesus could have been alive in the grave. And he wasn't. His spirit and soul were in Sheol, Hades. That's where Jonah went. So will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up as witnesses at the judgment against you, this generation, and will condemn it because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And now something greater than Jonah is here. Someone greater than Jonah. John 3 and 5. The queen of the south, Sheba, will stand up as witnesses at the judgment against this generation, that's Sheba, and will condemn it because she came from the ends of the earth to listen to the wisdom of Solomon. Now someone greater than Solomon is here. Now when the unclean spirit is gone out of man, it roams and through the waterless, dry, arid places in the search of rest, but it does not find it. Then it says, I will return to my house from which I came. He's talking about the unsaved Pharisees and scribes. They were demon-possessed because they killed the Son of God. They were demonically inspired. And when it arrives, it finds the place unoccupied, swept and put in order, and then he goes and brings with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and make for the home for there, and the last condition of that man becomes worse than the first. So will it be with this wicked generation. This wicked generation. What happened? What happened? Pontius Pilate did everything he could do. He pronounced Jesus innocent 5 times. He did everything he could do to turn him loose. He even tried to trick these wicked people. And he wrote a letter to his father-in-law, Tiberius Caesar. He had married his daughter. She was of a concubine, but she was his daughter. And his daughter had told him, don't have anything to do with this righteous man. I had a dream of him last night. Pontius Pilate did everything he could do to turn him loose. But he had an insurrection on his hands. And he gave in to that insurrection. Because he thought it was the best thing to do at that time. He believed that Jesus was God. He believed that he was the Son of God. He believed that. He sent a letter to his father-in-law, and he put before the Senate of Rome to make him be recognized as a god. Of course, they had a lot of the gods, but they wanted him to be recognized as a god. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord from his God from the stomach of the fish. And he said, I called out my troubles and distress to the Lord, and he answered me. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, help. Jonah's body was in the whale. Or not whale, but the Leviathan. And he said he was in the belly of Sheol. He was in the place of departed spirits, Sheol or Hades. And you heard my voice. For you cast me into the deep, the heart of the seas, and the current surrounded me, and I engulfed me, and all your breakers and billowing waves passed over me. Then I said, I have been cast out of your sight, nevertheless I will look again toward your holy temple. The water surrounded me at the point of death. The great deep engulfed me. He drowned. Seaweed was wrapped around my head. I descended into the very roots of the mountains. That's where he's talking about Sheol. The earth with all its bars closed behind me, bolting me forever. He died. And yet you brought me up alive from the pit of death, O Lord my God. When my soul was fainting within me, I remembered the Lord, and prayer came to you into your holy temple, and regard and followed worthless idols, and turned away from the living source of mercy and loving kindness. But as for me, I will sacrifice to you with a voice of thanksgiving, and I shall pay that which I have vowed. Salvation is from the Lord. So the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah up on the dry land. I want to emphasize this thoroughly. This is not a whale. It's not some plain fish. This is a supernatural fish. Tripping over something here. Jonah is someplace in the Mediterranean Sea here. He's over going toward Tarshish. I don't know where it was. But now, this Leviathan, this great Leviathan, supernatural fish, swallows Jonah. He's dead in the fish's body, in his belly, And then he begins to swim. He either flies over here to Nineveh, or else he swims to the ocean supernaturally in 3 days. In 3 days, he goes all the way from here, all the way down through the bottom of Africa, all the way down up into the, let's see here, up into the Indian Ocean, into the Arabian Sea, and all the way up into the Persian Gulf, and up the river, the Euphrates and the Tigris joined there, and then he takes to the Tigris River and goes up there all the way up and then spits him out. That's thousands of miles in 3 days. You tell me what fish can swim thousands of miles in 3 days. This is supernatural transportation. It is a supernatural Leviathan, a great fish, a sea monster, not just a fish. Now, let's go back and read the story in Hebrew. What part of it we get there, anyway. God ordained this great Leviathan fish to swallow Jonah. God ordained Jonah to go to Nineveh. Jonah is swallowed by the fish. He dies in the fish. Well, he probably is dead when in the fish's belly. His body is there, but he's drowned in the depths of the sea. There was a great storm, and then this goes down. Down and down and down. He said he went down to the roots of the mountains. Down, down, down. And then he cried out from Sheol. He was dead. Jesus was dead in the grave, as Matthew the 12th chapter says. Jonah is dead in the belly of the great fish, the Leviathan, the supernatural fish. There is nothing fish. The flying fish couldn't fly that far and that fast. Why, man, hadavar, dog, gadol, lib la'a, et, Jonah, why he, Jonah, b'nei, hadog, shilosha, yamin, yu shilosh, lilo. This is actually in the 2nd chapter in the Hebrew Bible. Wayman, and now had appointed, ordained, third person masculine singular, PL, while consecutive and perfect, now had ordained, violently ordained, PL stem, ordained and predestined, Jehovah, the one who shall become, John 1:14, a dog, a fish great, big fins, what it means, big fins, a dragon, Dagon, a dragon. Now, we know that that God is able to create this great dragon as a vehicle, a high-speed rail, so to speak. This thing's going to go thousands of miles in 3 days, all the way around the Horn of Africa, all the way back up into the Indian Ocean and into the Persian Gulf, all the way up that river. And in 3 days he's going to do this. Or maybe he flew. Maybe the fish had wings and he flew. Whichever way, this is supernatural transportation. It is not a whale, it is not any fish that we know. This is supernatural transportation. And now had ordained, appointed, predestined, Jehovah, fish, dog, gadol, great, live la'al, to swallow. That's a cal infinitive construct there. Livdal, et, sign of the direct object, same as ace in the New Testament. Ace in the New Testament is page 119 and page 81 here in the Hebrew. And then Jonah. Jonah means what? Dove. And he became, third person masculine singular cal, well, consecutive and perfect. And he kept on becoming Jonah. He stayed in the belly of the fish. Be me, in belly, preposition, page 88. In belly, the fish. The big fins, page 146, Davidson, by the way. It means to increase, to become big and big and big. When Moses was sent down in Egypt, over here, in the Egyptian bondage, Moses was born here, and Moses is sent down into Egypt. The first thing he did there, when he had the rod of God, is what some of the Old Testament writers say in the book of Yashur, Yashur, the scribe Jonah, the historian Yashur, that is. He threw his rod down upon Mount Sinai, and it became a serpent. A rod, and the rod was probably made out of almond wood. He threw it down, and it became a serpent. But then he goes down, and his brother goes with him into Pharaoh's palace, the big house. Pharaoh's man, big house, that's what it means. And he throws that rod down in the floor of Pharaoh's palace, and it does not become a snake, a serpent. It becomes a Leviathan. This is a sea monster. This is a giant Leviathan in the floor of Pharaoh's palace. And then we have two other men that the book of Jasher tells us who they are, Jannes and Jambres, and Paul quotes it in the New Testament. And Jannes and Jambres, these magicians, throw their rods down, and they become the Leviathans also. These are supernatural beings. These are not snakes. These are supernatural dragons, fire-breathing, roaring dragons. And God's dragon, his Leviathan, swallowed up the other two. Now here we have a supernatural dragon, a great fish, big fins, to swallow Jonah. And he became Jonah in belly of fish 3 days and 3 nights. Shilosha. And 3 nights. Now, how long was he in the belly of the whale? Or the fish? The Leviathan? 3. 3 days, 3 nights. 3 24-hour days. Okay? 3 24-hour days. Now, in that 3 24-hour days, God transported him supernaturally. He's dead, his body is in the fish, but his soul is down there communing with God in Sheol. And God sent him to do a job, and he said, you're going to be able to do it. He said, I promise you I will do it. Now Jesus, when he died on the cross of Calvary, they took him, they put him in the grave, and he was in the grave 3 days and 3 nights, not like the Catholic Church says, nor most of the Protestants. He was in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. He wasn't put in the grave on Friday night. He was probably crucified on Wednesday. And he was raised real early. In other words, Saturday night. In the night, early in the morning, 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, he rose. And he'd been in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days and 3 nights. Because that's what Jesus said in the New Testament. 3 days and 3 nights. Not part of 3 days and not part of 3 nights. 3 days and 3 nights. The Bible should be literally interpreted where it can be. And that's pretty plain. 2 and 2. Why yet palel Jonah el hadabar Eloha mim me hadaga. And prayed Jonah unto Jehovah, his God, and it says from the belly of the fish. His body was in the belly of the fish, but he says he's in Sheol. He's not in the belly of the fish. Why yet Palel, and he prayed and kept on praying. Third person masculine singular, Hithel, while consecutive and perfect, Jonah. Unto, preposition, page 39, unto Jehovah, Adavar, his God, Elohia, me, from stomach of the fish, ha-dak, big fins. Verse number 3 now. Wayomer Garati, Mitzah Ara Li, El Halabar, Wayo Ninu, Mib Biten, Sheol, Su Wati, Shamata, Goli. And he said and kept on saying, third person masculine singular while consecutive and perfect from Amer, I have cried out. First person construct singular, cal perfect, I have cried out, mitzara'ah, from distress to me. Unto, El, preposition, unto Hadavar, or Jehovah. And he answered, Waya-a-ni-ni. And he answered and kept on answering me, suffix, first person construct singular, mebeten, from depths, the cavity, the depths of the cavity of Sheol. The depths are the cavity of Sheol. Now remember, well, we're all a little circle up here. Down under the earth, now here's the earth up here. It said down under the earth at one time was Sheol. And over here is paradise side of Sheol. And over here is the torment side of Sheol, or hell. Or not hell like in, it's going to be in the New Testament times and eternity, but Hades. And there's a barrier in here. Now here, Jonah is over here just like Jesus was over here in paradise. Now when Jesus rose from the dead, he took all of these people up to heaven with him. All their spirits and souls, and some of them even resurrected. But that's paradise, or Sheol, or Hades. Sheol is Hebrew, and it means the place asked about. Hades means the place not seen. And both of them are Sheol or Hades. Now that's where Jonah was, in the depths of it, in the corner of it, in the bottom of it. Now he was a saved man, even though he was disobedient, and he didn't go over here to Hades, or into the place of torment, but he went over here in paradise. And paradise came from the heat, from the Persian, pares, into the Hebrew, paradise, into the Greek, paradiso, into the English as paradise. And it always means guarded pleasure park. Guarded pleasure park. It said, from the depths, from the cavity of Sheol, I had cried out, first person construct singular, PL perfect, for help, and you heard me. Second person masculine singular, cal perfect, and you heard me. You heard my voice, goli. You heard my voice. 2 in verse 4 now. Watash li kini mitsua mitsula nelvav yamim we nahar yeso bevini call mish barika we galika ale avaru. And for you through me, second person masculine singular, hifel, while consecutive perfect. First, the suffix is first person construct singular, You threw me for yourself with great power. He had those people throw him in the ocean, didn't he? He threw me in depths, great deep, mitzalilah, great deep, 847, the depths, into the heart of the waters. The heart of the waters is down, 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 down. When you go down, 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 deep in the heart of the waters, you die. Now, I used to be quite a swimmer. Marilyn, I'm a pretty good swimmer. Could I swim pretty good?
Like a seal.
Anyway, she said I used to swim like a fish or a seal. And I did most of my life. Now, Kern River is a very dangerous river in places. And I used to go swimming and fishing in Kern River a lot. And I was pretty young, and I could swim at least a quarter of a mile underwater without ever coming up. That's a lot. That's a long, long way. And I used to do that, and my friend Gary Harwell would bet money on me that I could do it, and people said, no way, and I'd do it. And anyway, the only thing about it, I was kind of cheating a little bit, because I'd jump off the canal, in a canal bank out there in the Bryant Kern Canal, and I'd swim with the current, and I'd come out a quarter of a mile down the road. All the way from Quantico down past Ragsdale's Riding Academy. And I'd come up down there. They wouldn't believe it. I could go out to the Kern, the Union Avenue plunge, and I could swim the length of that and across it, back and forth across it. It was a pretty big swimming pool without coming up. But I was out there at the Kern River one time, and I was fishing, and the water was really deep. It really a deep hole. And anyway, I decided to go down and see how deep it was. I'm a good swimmer. And I jumped off in there, and I went down probably 50, 60, 70, 80, maybe 100-foot hole. I got down there and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see up, I couldn't see down, and the water was swirling like this all around me like this. So I just started, I just turned around and went away back up, and I was going as fast as I could go, because I was underwater a long, long way. I could feel the pressure of the water. And I came up, and boy, I just barely came up in time, just enough air. When you go down and you go that deep, it's, I could go underwater for 3 minutes or so, or more. But I just barely made it. I felt like Jonah. I felt like Jonah in the depths of the sea. And you violently threw me for yourself in the depths, the mitzvah, the depths of the heart of the waters. And the currents, like I don't know how this feels. Boy, I was down there probably 50 to 100 feet in that Kern River, and the water was flowing all around me, and the currents were just kept on surrounding me. Third person masculine singular, poel, imperfect. All, call is all, page 481, of your breakers, mishbarika. All of your breakers, the ocean waves under the ocean waves don't just aren't just on the top of the water, they're under the water also. The waves, the currents are down low too. And your waves, we galika, and your waves over me, and they had passed over me. Third person construct plural, cal perfect. They passed over me. Verse number 5, 2 and verse 5. We ani, amarti, nig rashti, mimen naged, enika, ak, osef, lehabit, el hikal, gadashika. And I, we, ani. We is a conjunction, page 253, ani, page 59, That's first person pronoun. And I have said, amarti. First person construct through a cow perfect. I have said, I have been driven. Nik rashti. First person construct singular, nifel perfect. I have been driven from before, from in front of. Me niget. Your eyes, inika. Only, little adverb of time there, only adverb, high verb of time and place. I shall keep on looking. Means to look there. I shall keep on to look. That's from Nevat. Hifel, infinitive construct, to look unto temple, Hika, your holy temple, Kadesh, Gadeshika, Gadeshika. I shall look unto your temple. I shall see Jerusalem again. I'll do it. I will see it again. He believed that he would live again. He was dead, but he believed he would live again. And this word Kadesh there, it's 871, and it means apartness. It means, I shall see your holy temple. I shall see your presence with my eyes. I will see it. Job, when he said that he thought he was dying, he said, even though the skin worms eat up my flesh and everything, I know that in the resurrection that I will, with my eyes, I shall see you. Job thought he was dying. Jonah was dead. I hope you've enjoyed these messages from the book of Jonah. We've got more to go. I hope they touched your heart. I hope they give you confidence, because Jonah was dead. Dead, dead, dead. In Sheol, his body was in the fish, and the fish was a supernatural fish. This fish was going to be like a high-speed rail running all the way around that continent of Africa, all the way across, all the way around the continent of Africa, and up into the Indian Ocean, up into the Persian Gulf, and up the Tigris River, and be spit out on Nineveh shores. Our Father, we send this message out for people to enjoy your word, to be encouraged by it, to see the miracles that you do in your word. Father, please use it wherever it goes. Please forgive me where I failed you. In Jesus' name.